Today's episode of Strong Links is brought to you by Dan and Van, Sleaford and the surrounding area's #1 man with a van service. And now for today's show.
Hello and welcome to Extra Strong Links, a bonus episode of the Strong Links podcast. My name's Rich, and I'm here with this guy as ever. Hello Dan, how are you doing?
All right, Rich, I'm really looking forward to the football England are playing tonight. So, first game of the World Cup.
Yeah, just a couple of hours until kick-off against Croatia. I'm a bit nervous. So, how do you think we're going to do?
I think we'll do all right. I've got a good feeling about this. We'll see.
We'll know soon anyway. But you've been out and about recently, haven't you, Dan? Where have you been this week?
That's right, Rich, I have been. I caught up with an old friend of mine, Leon Smith, who I used to do a podcast with years ago. We met at a place called the Think Tank in central Lincoln, which is part of the University of Lincoln. And we sat out on the balcony in the glorious sunshine with a coffee, and we just chatted about old times. And it was really good to catch up. Great to see him.
So he was your first podcast partner then, was he?
He was, yeah, all those years ago. We also had a radio show, and Leon also helped me on Grimsthorpe Festival. So we had a lot to chat about. The conversation took us in all directions. Quite long, but really interesting. So I hope you enjoy it.
Great. Let's have a listen, shall we?
Right, it's rolling. Right, you ready for this?
Yeah.
I am here with one of my bestest friends in the whole world, Leon.
Nice to be here.
It's been a while.
Yes, it has. Yeah.
And it's been a while since we did a podcast.
It's been nearly 15 years since we did the Grimsthorpe Festival podcast. So, yeah, a while.
That's crazy, isn't it? Well, we were like early podcasters.
Pretty much. Yeah, we were ahead of the curve, I think, compared to where it is now. But both of us were like very early adopters to podcasts and knew that it would be a medium that would continue to grow even early on. Like, you understood the power of social media very early on, when a lot of people still, especially business-wise, didn't. So
yeah,
you were always ahead of the curve with that sort of stuff. So, and now social media is, probably the biggest way for business generation, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Whereas
kind
at
of.
the time, I don't think anybody really. There was adverts, but not many.
No, it's changed a lot. It's really changed a lot. But so how do we first do the podcast? How do we end up doing that? That was a crazy journey, wasn't it?
Yeah, I can't remember what happened to get us into the studio the first time. I don't know what you did to angle that, because you probably blagged it somehow. But, the idea behind it was that we wanted to promote the festival.
Yeah.
That was the kind of thought going into it, wasn't it? That we could show off some of the bands that we wanted to play and people could get used to their songs, so that on the day
festival.
Yeah, it gives it a bit more of a festival atmosphere if people...
But we were doing the radio show before the...
Yes.
Podcast.
Yeah. The radio show was kind of our entrance into it, wasn't it? But I think we wanted to do it as a podcast, but the radio show was the mechanism to do that.
That's right. We use we used the equipment, didn't we, in the studio? Because back then they had an amazing studio, and it was like state of the art.
You couldn't get anything like now. We're recording on a transportable mic. There wasn't anything like that unless you were like a big production company, lots of money. You can't get, like nowadays, I can pick up a mic for £10-15 that works with my phone, and I can record a podcast. It might not be the highest quality, but I can definitely do it. That's changed a lot. I think with content production in general, there's a lot more
accessibility.
Yeah, with video, film, audio, and that's helped. It helps people be creative, doesn't it?
It does now, but we had to be innovative and actually pretend that we had a radio show.
Yeah.
Oh, we did have a radio show, but you're right, that was a vehicle to then do the podcast, to then promote the festival.
It was the cheapest way that we could get all of the equipment to do the podcast, and they were happy with us to do it as long as we were doing the radio show. So for us, it was a no-brainer because it was no cost but free advertising for us. It was something we were already interested in.
Yeah.
Both of us were very into the podcasts, and
we both listened to Ricky Gervais, didn't we? And Steve Merchant and Cole Pilkington.
Yeah, their podcast was basically what we did. The podcast was edited down radio show.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we did. We did the radio show, but the radio show was kind of informed by what we would want in the podcast, and then we could be a bit more fluid with it.
That's right, yeah.
So it was...
We sort of, repurposed it.
Yeah, I think it was just we knew the aim for the podcast.
So how did we blag the radio show? How did we do that? It's all kind of... I don't know how we actually ended up doing our own radio show.
I'm not sure who or how you blagged us to get in, but I remember that once we were in, it was fine. Basically, it was just getting the foot in the door initially.
Yeah, that's right. I remember there was a lot of we had to build up a lot of trust with them.
Yeah,
to let us use that equipment, and
it was.
And they assigned us a producer, didn't they, Ian?
Yeah.
He was a really nice guy, but
I think you spent a good amount of time as well learning how to use the equipment to help produce the show. Like, we would have to do all of the audio levels and do all of that stuff. They had to teach us how to use the software that they used for the radio show.
That's right.
You did all of that. That wasn't me.
Yeah, I remember going in and having training days.
Yeah. But it was the University of Lincoln's radio station and how they trained their media students. So they had a constant radio presence, but the equipment was expensive. Yeah. So they didn't want us just goofing around with it and messing up. They were also had to operate on a basis where they couldn't directly advertise companies.
We were all under Ofcom, weren't we? Which we're not on. We weren't even on. We bypassed Ofcom doing the podcast.
Yeah. But you couldn't do that with a radio show.
No.
And I don't think that studio actually exists anymore. I think it's completely gone.
They've got rid of it.
Yeah. I don't know if the University of Lincoln have replaced it for the media students and they do something with an equivalence, but just within the unit.
I don't think they do. I think it's gone completely.
That cracking you can hear is actually the heat on these panels.
Oh, is it? I thought it was a bird.
No, I did as well, but you can actually hear it cracking up and down the wall, and it's the heat on the panels.
So where are we today? We're at the uni, aren't we?
Yeah, we're at the University of Lincoln down Rushton Way at the think tank at the Innovation and Technology Centre.
It's very cool, yeah?
Yeah, they take great care of me here. I love it.
Yeah.
It's very... When we were doing the festival, we were in a different thing that's similar
Where
to
were
the
we?
think tank. We were in a building called Spark House, but it was a bit smaller. And
Same sort of thing. It was like lots of businesses within a trendy sort of setting.
Yeah. Spark House was, I think, more focused on media, PR, that sort of stuff.
That's right.
Here is the innovation technology side of things, which is why there's the units. Like, I've got the unit down there that's an office and then a big unit space as well. So it's so that people can do warehouse work or they can do manufacturing work, lab work, whatever.
It's a really interesting place, this. How did we end up now? We had an office at Spark House that we never paid for.
Yes. They were happy. What we used to do was we had an office, but it wasn't actually our office. We were on this, they said that we could use space, but on the day, if somebody wanted to use a room, we would have to find a different room to use. But as long as we were happy to kind of float around the building, they were fine. And we didn't have office furniture. Everything was done on laptops.
Do you remember I used to bring my printer in on a trolley or something?
Yeah.
And we'd basically take it out of the boot of the car and we'd bundle it in there and we'd go to wherever they told us. There was an office that we were kind of based in.
A lot. Yeah, but it wasn't actually our office.
No.
It was just the one that was empty and not in use most.
But that was amazing because
we didn't actually leave anything there either. I don't know if you remember, but
you took everything home.
Pack everything up, pack it all up into your car, and then we'd unpack it all, set everything up. Yeah. But we got down to doing it in minutes. It wasn't something where it was like a stressful thing that we had to do. It was just, we'll just set up.
Yeah, I don't really remember. All I remember was that printer, lugging that printer in. But we took everything home at the end of the day
as well. So everything was portable. It would have been a lot harder with a, big PC to move around.
Yeah.
But
iPads. We had iPads.
yeah, you had your iPad for doing stuff on, and then there was we had a couple of laptops that we were doing stuff on, and being portable during that time, I think, helped us learn as well. Obviously, we were doing the festival stuff, and that was new. We were learning as we were going, or I certainly was. You know, you already done it for a few years at that point, so I think you'd kind of started to.
Not long. I don't think. Maybe 1 year.
It was the first year. Yeah.
So how did we meet?
So we met back in 2012 or 2011 or 12. Yeah.
11.
And I was giving out free hugs with an old friend of mine, and you come up and gave us a hug, but then you said, I've got to go to a business meeting, I'm up there and I'll be back in a few hours, I want to talk to you guys, you're still going to be here? And so we were like, yeah, of course, yeah, you know. So a couple of hours later you come back, give us hugs again, and that's when you explained that you were doing a festival, and originally you invited us to just come and give out free hugs at the first festival. So we attended as like guests that would, and we just went around the festival giving out hugs to people. It was great, with cardboard signs, which is what we used to do in the high street in Lincoln. But doing it at the festival, it was different atmosphere there, isn't it? You know, we're on the high street, you're kind of the idea is that you're kind of interrupting people's automatic behaviours. Whereas at the festival, everyone's kind of in a good mood and stuff like that. I remember that we were dancing with the Gurkhas down the main street. And there's a whole parade of people, and there's a group of us that have started just dancing with them. You know, we were at the start of the parade, and they were like, come and join us. So we did, and we ended up dancing with them with high-vis on, cardboard signs and Gurkhas, and we're dancing with them and stuff. So very surreal, very surreal. I never thought I would have an experience like that in my life.
Yeah, it was surreal, wasn't it? It was like, yeah, I think what we achieved from the festival was pretty amazing.
Yeah,
I don't know if we give ourselves enough credit for
I look
what
back at it now, and I think there were 6 stages, and I don't know how you managed to do that. The idea of running multiple stages is difficult as it is, but having 6 all going on at the same time, all of them busy, all of them with their own stage manager who's trying to manage all the artists and get everything online, doing that for 6 stages on the same day was, I don't know how you really did it, but I mean, you know how to build a good team. Like, the people who helped with the festival were incredible.
Yeah, they were.
People like Keith. Keith is perfect for that, for what he did. You know.
Yeah,
he was an incredible asset.
Yeah, he was amazing. He is just got.
I think he was the only one of us that was actually going towards any kind of qualifications in that area as well. So he had a kind of formal structure to understanding that we didn't.
Yeah, I remember him coming to me with sort of like Venn diagrams and stuff, and he'd explain things in a very sort of logical, educated way, whereas we were going on enthusiasm, and yeah, we had a sort of vision, whereas I think Keith took that vision and brought a bit of reality to it, and yeah, clever guy.
And then you had Freddie as well, who was incredibly talented.
Freddie Foster, yeah.
Yeah, he was an incredible asset. There was a lot of people as well. I don't think I could name everybody, but you definitely found a lot of good, competent people. Even though none of us really knew what we were doing, it still kind of worked out.
Yeah, I think we, because we were naive to it, or I'd never really done anything like that before. Yeah. You hadn't, but I think, between us all, we found a way to do it, and
I mostly just did what you said.
No, you didn't. You were really creative, and I think like the spoken word stage, that was your idea.
I thought with the spoken word stage, that was, we kind of caught up after the first festival when I'd done the free hugs, and I just pitched it to you as an idea for the festival sort of thing. But you said it's a good idea, but can you, if we're going to do it, can you run it? Can you be in charge of dealing with it to make sure that it works? So, and that's kind of how it begun, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, it was nice to do something where the main focus of doing it wasn't money. For me personally.
Yeah.
Normally you go to work or you go to do anything and you're thinking about, I've got to earn money to live, and everything is about money. Whereas it wasn't. It didn't come into it at all.
I've got to say, anything that I've done in life that has been successful, money's almost been secondary to the achievement of the idea, like seeing the idea through, and the money comes as a result of that being successful.
Yes, I think so. I think you're right.
I think if you're just focused cynically on the money, it rarely works.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
but at the same time, we've got to put bread on the table and keep the lights on. So.
Yeah. Thought I was still like 19 or 20, I think, when we met and we were doing that. So.
Were you?
Yeah, I was still quite young. So, for me,
I've got to say, you've always had like a really mature mind.
I was born an old man. Yeah.
No, but you're a very intelligent person, and
I had to grow up very quickly when I was younger, and I was homeless at 16. I had to be an adult before I was really an adult, So, but even as a young child, we all knew how to look after ourselves, pretty much, me and my siblings, and that's how it was. So, I think a lot of my development during kind of teenage years, I ended up being kind of coming across a lot older than I was. When I was 19, 20 and we first met, most people thought I was in my late 20s, but to be fair, I was going bold at the time, so that probably helps.
I think that's what connected us, our being part of the bold community.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I was a avid flat cap wearer, and then we met, and you had a few flat caps, and I think that was like a bonding moment for us, the little flat caps.
Sort of a nod of an acknowledgement.
Yeah.
We're on the same level.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Just trying to do anything possible to stay in denial about being bold. So, whereas quite a while ago now, I ended up just embracing the boldness. I like being an egg.
It's all right. It's a good look.
Yeah.
Honestly,
it suits some people. I think you have to have the right head shape.
I don't mind it. I can't imagine having hair now.
I used to have shoulder-length hair.
You did?
Yeah.
I've probably seen a picture of you with,
Yeah, I actually shaved my hair off and started going shorter haired not long before we met. At the time, I was doing the cupcakes, and I shaved my head off when I was doing the cupcakes.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, but just before that, I had, chin-length hair, curly hair.
Yeah.
But the longest it had been was past...
Did you have curtains?
No, I had a swooping fringe.
Oh, okay. I was like an emo, sort of early noughties.
Yes, very much so, yeah. And I used to skate and stuff as well, so I was very alternative.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had big sweeping emo fringe.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work very well when you start getting bold in the front.
Because it looks like a comb over.
Yeah, well, if you don't have a fringe to sweep to the side, it kind of ruins the look, doesn't it? So. Yeah, so me going bold kind of brought an end to that. Say if it's hot and I'm sweating, I still occasionally flick my head like I've got hair without thinking about it, just out of force habit.
I don't know about you, but I have dreams where I've got hair.
No.
Is it just me?
I can't say I've ever dreamt about having hair. I have thought about getting a wig, but only for comedic purpose. I wouldn't actually want a wig. I would want to take off a wig in front of people just to see their reaction.
See their reactions, exactly. I thought just turn up one day to footy or something wearing a wig.
Hair. Yeah, beautiful blonde.
Yeah, blonde, sort of typical footballer.
Highlights in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see
mullet or something
and see who doesn't say anything.
Yeah, that would be the best thing.
That's the best reaction. Yeah, because they'll be too embarrassed to.
I think with blokes you'd probably get a few more jokes, but you'd also get some blokes that just wouldn't mention it because out of pure embarrassment.
Yeah.
Whereas I think a lot of women would probably be like, "Why have you got a wig on, bold man?" Whereas guys, it would be the extreme ends. It would either be they would pretend like it didn't happen, or they would be very mocking, openly mockery.
Yeah.
Whereas you might get, I presume anyway, that you'd probably get a few more questions from women. So.
What, like, why are you wearing that?
Yeah, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you in here?
I've got a theory. I've got a theory about baldness and
Okay.
good looking, like being good looking and all that. You're ugly with hair or without,
Yeah.
or you're handsome with hair or without. So Sean Connery, handsome guy with hair, even with a wig, is like good looking with hair and without hair. There's very few people. Brad Pitt, if he shaved his, all my references are old dudes now.
And he's still Brad Pitt.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So yeah, it's just whatever.
There's a
just
thing.
Embrace it.
More younger people now wearing overhead headsets where they have a dint over the top of their head from the line of their headset.
Oh really?
You should look it up online. It's like more streamers, people who stream every day with their headset on, talking to their chat, playing games for 12 hours a day or whatever. Do that for a few years, you end up with a little line in your skull from where the headphones have sat. So there's people. There was a thing a couple of years ago where streamers were shaving their hair off and then discovering they had a dint inside of their head, and that would be an interesting way to find that out. Could you imagine going bald and then finding out you've got a whole dint
Got
in
a
a line
dint in your
from your headphones?
sign of the times,
exception, I
baby.
think, wouldn't it? If you got somebody who's very handsome and then you looked at the bald head and they've got a dint in the lines in the line of a headphone band, that would probably ruin that. Brad Pitt probably wouldn't be quite so handsome with a dint in his head.
No, don't reckon it's not a good look. Yeah, I'll look it up. I'm not aware of that phenomenon.
No,
but I'll have a look.
Yeah. You wear overhead headphones loads, so you want to be careful.
I don't.
No? Oh.
I'm on the old. No, I never wear them.
No.
I never wore them in the studio when we did the radio show. I don't know if you remember, but
I don't actually know.
You wore them.
You
used to wear them, but I never did because I ironically ate the sound of my voice. So I'm used to it now, but it was like back then I really didn't.
remember. We were both similar in that. But when I first heard the recording back of us the first time in the studio, I didn't think it sounded like what I sound like at all.
Really?
I didn't like it. I didn't like how I sounded at all. I still don't actually. Like, I've gone back now and listened to that podcast just for nostalgia.
Yeah.
But at the time, I didn't listen to. I wouldn't listen to anything that we produced.
Right.
Because I didn't want to hear my own voice with it.
That's quite normal.
I think so.
Yeah, because I listen to my voice and I think, oh God, it's like Rich, who I do the show with, the Strong Links show, this show. I think he's got a great voice. He's got a really good. His presentation's brilliant. But I listen to myself and I'm really critical. But then I think, well, I really enjoyed doing the show. I love the people I speak to, and you just got to bypass your vanity and just crack on with it. And
I think,
I
think to some level you just have to.
Like my baldness, I just embrace it. That's who I am.
Yeah.
Can't change it.
Yeah.
Maybe have a few elocution lessons, but really, fundamentally, this is how I sound.
Weird and annoying at about 3 or 4 years old, and I never let go of that.
No, I know.
Yeah, so if I can be weird or annoying, that I'm in my element.
Yeah.
So
you embrace it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's what I love about you, though, Leon. Yeah. It's like I've got to say, I think you're one of the most stylish people I know.
All of my clothes are from like charity shops or very cheap, but
you remind me of. You get these French male models that just whatever they wear, they just look good in.
Yeah.
And you're one of those. You remind me of a European kind of cool dude. But I don't expect you to make a comment on that.
I've never tried to be like fashionable or stylish or anything like that. I just wear what I like. These trousers, for example, a lot of people comment on these trousers. These were actually picked out by my daughter in a charity shop. And I saw them and I went, I will look like a clown in them, and this isn't going to be good. And
they're great trousers.
Everyone compliments me on them. They're my favourite trousers. And they were picked out by my daughter, bless her.
Wow. She's
got great taste.
She's got great taste.
Yeah.
And you're wearing, so you're wearing like a jumper, you got a bug t-shirt on, and you got a pink beanie.
Yeah, you have to try and splash colour in wherever you can, don't you? So hats are a great way to add a splash of colour. It's actually why I started wearing watches, just to add a different colour in.
Okay.
So that I can constantly clash with some sort of colour.
Yeah, so you've got quite sort of on your trousers and your jumper, they're quite sort of muted colours.
Yeah, neutral.
Neutral colours, and then you got
just
your,
add in
your
anything
pink
that's
beanie
bright.
and
And that's a Tiffany blue
watch dial.
Yeah. So the pink and the blue, no fashion student would
It
probably
works,
put
though.
them together. But
Tonally, I think they work.
I think with the contrast, because of the neutral, it's
Yeah.
okay, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But again, it's not something where I don't go and buy clothes like, oh, this is fashionable, or
No.
and like we were wearing flat caps before the TV show where everyone was wearing flat caps.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called.
Oh, what's it called?
But
Peaky Blinders.
Peaky Blinders.
We were well
that's it.
before that.
Much before. Yeah. And now,
Now it's
if we walk around with flat caps, people would be like, oh, Peaky Blinders. And we were doing that miles before.
Yeah. Which is an association I'm not particularly fond of. I wouldn't be fond of that.
No, I stopped wearing the flat caps.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I ended up giving it up and...
I've kind of gone into, like, what do you call these? Like dad caps?
Yeah, just a cap.
Cap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quite like.
I wear beanies until it's too hot. And then I've got some, like, thin material
Yeah.
ones. But I've
We're
been
going all over
embracing
the place. We've spoken about, what have we spoken about? Fashion, boldness.
Yeah.
Do you wear a scent? I'm really into scents at the moment.
I do, actually. I wear Versace blue jeans,
Oh, okay.
which is an old one.
Yeah.
It's very, it's a nostalgic one for me. It reminds me of my teenage years and going out for the first time and wanting the fragrance as a teenager.
So, blue jeans.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now it's been, I think, discontinued, so it's a bit harder to get. But it's still not like
What's
an
the bottle like?
expensive- It's a little blue bottle that goes thinner at the top, and then it's got a black cap to it. But it used to be sold in like Wilco's and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah. So it was like a cheaper perfume brand. It's not an expensive one.
Oh, okay.
I still now to this day they're only £20-25 for a bottle.
Oh, right.
So it's not like a real expensive one. But the
Yeah.
scent of it is it's very floral and sweet. It's very nice. I like it.
Good summary scent.
Yeah. But I do a lot of microbiology now, so I have to basically try and be unscented and not do anything that can mess with stuff. So quite often it's putting on plastic clothing,
Right.
like with looks like Breaking Bad in the unit, because we've got what people would look at and call a cannabis growing tent, but they're actually just a lined fabric tent, basically.
Yeah, so I went in there just before we did this and had a look around, and kindly gave me some lunch, and we had a coffee, and it's an interesting place. So what are you doing there? Tell us about that.
We're growing some bacterial cellulose from a symbiotic collection of bacteria and yeast, which is called a SCOBY. So we feed it tea and sugar, and it produces us a type of cellulose called alpha cellulose, which is biocompatible. So in emergencies, it has been used as a skin graft. It's being looked at for biomedical sciences at the moment for drug delivery systems, so that could be an interesting novel use for it in the future. But it's also, you can dry it out and it goes like a leather, and you can have a leather type material that's completely suffering free. It's grown by bacteria, so you can produce it for less than leather costs to produce, and you can cut out suffering from it. So for people who don't want to have leather products, hopefully we can offer an alternative before too long. But we're also doing experiments with it on a material sciences basis. So we're looking at turning it into packaging materials and seeing what else we can do with it. So we're also going into mycology, which is the study of mushrooms. That is one of my main loves now. So we've got to get an autoclave so I can sterilise stuff, but we'll be messing around making some packaging materials that are from mycelium and completely organic and biodegradable. And then I'll be doing plant tissue culture as well. So my intent is to find an expensive plant species that costs a lot of money and crash the market on it by making so many of them that it ends up becoming cheap.
You said something about what was it you mentioned to me about?
Wasabi.
Wasabi, yeah.
Yeah, so I've bought and started to grow some real wasabi, and the plan for that will be that I propagate it in tissue culture, and hopefully I can grow, potentially thousands of them. They cost about £4 or £5 for a little plant, and a full-grown wasabi is £50 a stem.
Really?
Yeah, but they take about 2 years to grow. But at the moment, for people to get into them, the most expensive part is sourcing the wasabi. They're quite hard to get hold of. They're quite expensive. So I'm hoping with the tissue culture that I can produce them for many of them, for a lot less. But we've done a deal with a chili guy who breeds rare chilies. And chilies, the seeds can all form into a slightly different plant. They're all genetically different. So if you have a plant that you've grown a chili on, that's something that you want to preserve, the seeds from that aren't actually how you do that. You need to take a tissue sample and then propagate it out that way, and you can clone it. The same way that you would propagate like a tree. Yeah. The fruit from that tree isn't genetically identical to the tree if you planted it. Same as apple trees, I'm sure you know. If you take the seeds from an apple tree, the tree that will grow will be a different type of apple to the apple that you've picked off your tree.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, most plants work on that basis, where it depends what pollinates them. But so in plant culture, there's a lot of cloning that happens. So that's essentially, with trees, would be taking a cutting from a tree and rooting it. Yeah. And you're copying the mother tree that you've taken that from. Whereas if you planted a seed from that tree, it would be the child of it. It's not a complete copy. So for things like chilies, you can have one plant that produces something, perfect and that you want to grow on, but you can't get another copy of that. It's just unique. Right. So the tissue culture would be so that we can isolate select chilies that we've identified are worth growing on, and we'll be helping that farmer to isolate, propagate and multiply the rarest chilies that he produces that he can't propagate any other way. So we're hoping that will help with... Chilies are a big market, and there's a lot of demand for highly specialised chilies. But there is issues with, again, the uniformity. You can take clones from chilies that people do, but if you wanted 1,000 of them, you can't really... That's very difficult to do from one plant without taking quite a long time. So the idea of the tissue culture is, within a year we can have thousands and thousands and thousands of plants. So that would... The aim's to kind of be disruptive to some markets, but also to help one-off plants to multiply. So as part of what I'll probably do, I'm going to go around and find famous trees. So, for example, the apple tree for Sir Isaac Newton, if I go and find a stick that's broken off of that, I can propagate that without any harm to the tree. I don't need to take a tissue sample from the tree. Yeah. And I can clone it and propagate it. So I could, potentially breed out thousands of that exact tree, a clone of it, and without doing anything to the tree. Yeah. And I could do that for a few famous trees and give people an opportunity to own a clone of that specific tree.
That's amazing. I've never thought of that. Because that tree's in Southall.
Yes.
Yeah, just down the road, not too far away. And that tree's...
It's actually the scion of the tree. It was, I think it ended up being hit by lightning or was damaged, and they replaced it with a scion.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it is still genetically...
That tree?
Yeah. It's amazing, really, how long it's been that tree is still there.
Yeah, I thought that was like hundreds of years old, isn't it? So.
Yeah. But I think as a novelty, it would be quite good to be able to say to people, do you want to buy a clone of this tree? It's genetically the same tree.
Yeah. So am I right in saying that it's going to make production much easier?
Yes.
Of plants,
plants
and specialist or rare plants.
Yeah. Anything where it's expensive to get a hold of a plant, we'll be able to propagate them and multiply them at a much bigger level, and it should help bring down the price of those plants. So. There is a woman on YouTube who I follow, and I've learnt loads of stuff from her about plant tissue culture. But she actually did this with a rare orchid that was about over £100, and she's made them so that they're under £10 a plant. She's literally grown tens of thousands of them to sell them, and she's crashed the price of this very specific plant. Yeah. And the idea of that as a disruption to me is fantastic. I love it.
You are a bit of a disruptor. I think that's something that, I don't mean that in the in a positive way. You're one of these people that takes an idea and tries to sort of develop it in a way that's makes it more accessible for other people. And
Yeah, well, I'm launching a new product actually, and I'm going through this up with that at the moment. And the whole idea of that is to be disruptive. So it's just an electrolyte salt drink. I've cut out all of the fillers and the flavours, everything else. So it's just a salt. It's in biodegradable packaging. Everything is done by hand, including milling the salt. And I can still sell them for less than half the price of the nearest competitor, and I can still make a decent profit margin on it. So that'll be something that goes onto Amazon hopefully before the end of this year. Right. But we're, pretty much under half the price of competitors.
It's amazing. All being done right here in Lincolnshire, in Lincoln.
Yeah.
It's amazing, absolutely amazing and there's, where we are today, it's a very sort of creative place, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I said to you that I've only actually been here myself about 10 times. With my health, I spent the first 3 months of this year pretty much bedbound. So I have to try my hardest when I'm capable to get as much done as I can. But it's why I've got some great people around me now so that things can get done when I'm bad, and it's not just down to me. That was something I had to change because everything stops when I'm ill, when it's all reliant on me. So I changed that, and I'm much happier. I get to do what I want to do, which is to invent new bits and tinker around with bits and learn stuff. I get very bored once I've figured something out. Once I think I've got it sussed, and I know I can do it. It becomes very boring.
Well, you said something to me earlier that kind of did. You're a very intelligent person, very switched on, and you said that you learnt things from me, doing the festival, and I just think that's kind of made my day. That maybe a bit of knowledge that I had or have has passed on to you. And
I think certainly with the festival, you had definitely the right attitude towards things. You were very determined. It wasn't, even on the worst days, there was a conversation we had once when the festival got rained off and everything was cancelled, and we'd done loads of work, and it was something that where both of us, it and everyone else, it wasn't just us, but I think it hit us pretty hard at first, but you always managed to recover, carry on rolling, with a level of determination that's basically stubborn, but in a positive way, going in the right direction. So for me, it was very much this does work, you can do this, just decide I'm doing this and then start doing it,
Well, we just had such a great time doing it.
It was never really like work.
No, not at all. It just felt like I was with a bunch of mates doing something that we all wanted to do, and it was just a fabulous time.
I think a lot of times we would have little meetings, we would have little group gatherings, and we'd talk about ideas, and then we'd bring them up and we'd discuss them with each other, and they would develop over time.
Yeah.
So a lot of the original conversations would just be random ideas that we were talking about, and then over time they would develop into
if not one year, we'd do it the next year. Yeah.
So and there was a lot of the development work with that side of things was a lot of going through improvements, but generally the kind of core of the idea would remain intact. So it was a lot of, we learnt to pivot a lot.
Yeah.
We knew what we were going to do. We knew we were going to get there. It was just which path we went
there.
on.
Yeah.
But for me, it was I was always quite good with business stuff, but I didn't really enjoy it. The festival was the way around that, where it had become fun again instead of it being about business.
The business was a means to an end.
Essentially, yeah. I think
that's right.
Pretty much how we all treated it. Really, it was we want this to succeed and stuff, but really it was if it succeeds, we'll continue to do it and we'll just have fun. It was also something where there wasn't pressure to continue, so it was if it wasn't fun anymore, we'd just stop doing it. There was a time when my health got really bad and I kind of dipped out for a while, and then come back for a little while, and it wasn't a pressure of we need you here to do this stuff, and then coming back it wasn't well, where have you been,
I remember everyone was so glad to see you when you I think that's the year you were looking after the traders. It was just so nice it was there was a piece missing. You came back and it was just lifted everyone. And
when we stopped doing Spark and stuff like that, it was a completely change of lifestyle really for all of us, because it was like a good year and 2 years, 3 years
Solid
where
work.
we were doing it all the time.
Yeah.
You know, it was our main kind of creative outlet.
Yeah.
And I think we all loved it as well. It was like a baby for you, you know.
Yeah.
But we all had we'd all invested our hearts into it.
I know I was sort of heading it up, but it was we were just one big gang doing something that was quite exciting.
You were kind of the wrangler of everybody.
I was like the Charles Manson of the of the outfit.
Yeah. For me, I would get very distracted and I'd start doing 10 different things. And then I'd be dropping new ideas every 20 minutes. So it was like...
But we were all like that, weren't we?
Yeah.
I don't know, because I suffer from that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there was plenty of times when we ended up...
We needed some focus.
We go on random misadventures quite a lot.
I went on the basis that there was no bad ideas.
Yeah.
There were just ideas that maybe wouldn't work, but
Yeah.
nothing was a bad idea.
Yeah.
And we'd sort of work out how we could do something, and then sometimes we'd come to a dead end that it cost too much money, or there were health and safety restrictions or whatever.
There was one time when the initial idea was that we did Grimsthorpe Festival in big wooden letters, and we were actually talking about how we could build them into some sort of structure that people could interact with. Like, could we turn letters into a slide or a climbing frame, and it ended up being something that just wouldn't.
It cost £100,000.
Yeah, and the amount of liability that it would create for the festival as well was somewhat of a problem.
Yeah.
And we ended up with a wooden Grimsthorpe Festival.
Made out of pallets or something.
Yeah.
Me and my dad made it,
Yeah, but it was brilliant.
Yeah.
You know.
Tell us what went on at the festival. And got any stories from the festivals?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stories from the planning. You know, I was still doing free hugs during planning, so we'd go out 1 day, 2 days a week, and you'd come with us sometimes and do free hugs if you weren't too busy.
I just thought it was such a lovely idea. Just hugging people, nothing in it for you, nothing other than just a hug and, being nice to people.
It's something I look back on with like very fond memories of that period. Again, I kind of come to hate money, so it was something else that I did where there was money just didn't play a part in it.
Yeah. Such a bonkers idea, as well.
Yeah, well, it's part of a global movement. We didn't start it or anything like that. We saw a guy in Australia who was doing it and went, "This is fantastic."
It takes courage to go and give a stranger a hug, but I think it's
the first
you
day
definitely
you
definitely made my day when I met you, and I just thought it was just such a nice thing.
Yeah, it was. We met on the high street when I was doing free hugs, so yeah. But I remember the first time going to do free hugs, we'd got the cardboard signs, and I was thinking nobody's going to stop or anything like that. We're just going to be stood around like idiots. But it wasn't like that at all. We used to get people come up a lot. There was we ended up with a group, and different people would come with us on different days to do free hugs. And there was one Saturday during the summer where we had 21 people with cardboard signs giving out free hugs all over Lincoln.
Really?
Yeah. So we had to start not cracking down on people, but making sure that people were being careful, because there would be some people who would go into businesses and start disrupting businesses, which they didn't really like. And we would go in. There was a few times where we did go into businesses. There was once when Stokes Coffee on the high street, the manager at the time saw us and waved, and we went and gave her a hug. And just being cheeky, we said, "Can we go inside and give some people some hugs?" And she went, "Yeah, go on then, why not?" So we did go into shops, but it was, by invitation.
Yeah.
Whereas there was some groups of people that were just going into shops.
Okay.
And it started causing issues with the city council. We even had conversations with the police, but luckily they were always very lovely.
Yeah.
They didn't. It's not that they wanted to stop us, but they didn't want any issues to arise from us doing it, which is reasonable. So we started to be a bit more careful about letting random strangers come in and join us.
Did I join you for free hugs?
Yeah, I think you did join us a couple of times doing free hugs.
I know I did leaflet. I
was going to say, we would do it at the Stonebow in Lincoln, which, if anybody knows, is if you're on the high street, if you work in town, anything like that, you have to go through the Stonebow. It's a main traffic area for people, and that's where one of the main places where we would set up and do free hugs. There was also leafleters. So I remember more than once where we would be doing free hugs, and you would end up going up to one of the workers giving out leaflets and go, "Can I help you give out the leaflets?" And you would end up shouting out made up deals for people.
Right.
So you'd be like, oh yeah, this leaflet will give you a free drink, and people would take it and then be like, oh no, it doesn't. But I wonder, there was a nightclub once where they were saying it was free entry with the leaflet, but you were saying to people it was free VIP, free drink on when they could get in, and I wonder how many people showed up at a club expecting with their leaflet to get some sort of VIP treatment, to be told, no, actually, you're just getting in for free. The best example was that there was I don't know how to word this correctly, we'll say an adult gentleman's club that was doing leaflets.
A strip joint.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. High class level. Lincoln's finest.
Strippers.
And you were taking leaflets off the dude and giving them out to people. And quickly you realised that these were the best leaflets to be playing pranks on people with. So you were saying free strippers to people, and every time there's quite a group of us watching, but we were watching you do it while doing. We'd pretty much stopped doing the free hugs at this point. We'd all stopped, and we were all just stood round watching you. Even the guy who was supposed to be doing the leaflets completely gave up giving out the leaflets and was just stood watching you, going, "I'm going to get sacked. I'm going to get fired."
I don't even remember this.
But
what was I
you were
saying?
saying stuff like free strippers while you're waving the leaflet out.
For a strip club.
Yeah. You didn't obviously promote for the strip club. There was somebody working there. You just decided you'd take the leaflets off him. But you were saying free drinks to people, so like loud, and then dudes would come up to start getting a leaflet from you, and you would hold it. You would remain straight faced and be like, "Yeah, have a leaflet. You can get a free drink with this one." Yeah. We would all die. We were all in absolute hysterics, and the people getting the leaflets from you would get the leaflet and then within a few seconds realise that you were messing around.
Right.
But there was 15 people all stood round the Stobo laughing at them. So these poor blokes
I never
were
got
walking
punched
up.
on the nose.
No, these poor guys walking up thinking they're going to get a free lap dance or a free alcoholic beverage at this gentleman's club, and instead they got brutally laughed at. But it was just the face of guys walking up thinking that they're going to go to this fine gentleman's club and get a great deal, and realising that actually you were just saying it to see.
I don't even remember this.
It was brilliant. It was.
But I do remember I had leaflets for the festival.
Yes.
And I was giving out leaflets. I think we all were, weren't we?
Yeah.
And I was saying, excuse me, sir, do you like Neil Diamond? And he's going, yeah, I love Neil Diamond. I said, like, we're doing a festival. And then he'd take the leaflet and then I'd say, Neil Diamond's not playing, but there's other acts that are really good. So, I don't know. You just do what it takes, don't you?
There's another story, actually, about the festival.
Oh, yeah.
One that not many people know. While we were trying to book bands and stuff, I contacted the band Wheatus.
I remember this.
Yes.
I do remember this.
The singer of Wheatus started emailing me. It was another very surreal experience where
who were pretty big around that time, weren't
they?
they?
Kind of dipped
They
off
were
for
at the end of their
sort
of run.
Everybody knew Teenage Dirtbag. It's a song everybody knows.
Yeah.
So there was still a household name to a lot of people.
Yeah.
The plan was that they essentially said that if they were in the UK, they would have come and done the festival for free to help out for the charity.
Yeah.
And it was only because they were American and the transport and logistics of everything getting them over here would have been insane. But they were incredibly on board for performing for free.
Yeah. I remember you saying about contacting them, and I kind of left it with you. Because I thought it was like, but
the chances are,
if they were in the UK, they would have played.
They were interested in doing it. Yeah, when they were basically asking when the festival was, if it was an absolute certainty to be on those dates and stuff like that. But it turned out they weren't. There was no alignment. But they were asking and interested.
Yeah.
You know, and that was the actual. The weirdest thing is the Wheatus email address was being responded to by the singer of Wheatus. It wasn't like a production member of staff or somebody from a label or anything. It was actually the singer of Wheatus responding.
That's mad. I remember we were doing a project, me and Rich and Chris. We'd written a horror movie. We were sort of in the process of thinking about shooting it, and we were thinking about a soundtrack and all of this, and I contacted Gary Newman. because I'd come across some videos of him on YouTube, and his music was a bit avant-garde, very sort of experimental and unusual. I hadn't really heard anything like it, and I contacted him. I just emailed him, not thinking I'd ever get a response, and he emailed me back and said basically that we struck a deal that was very generous, and but I thought he was just so it's amazing what happens when you reach out to people.
Yeah, especially in the modern era, I wouldn't think that emailing Wheatus would get through to the lead singer.
You think, right? And this is how it's changed. Back in the day, pre-social media, internet and all that, you would have been writing to their agent.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't have had any access to them. It's the agents that were the gatekeepers.
Yeah, and they would pass on stuff if
there was something in it for the agent. Whereas nowadays we can
social media, you can find your favourite celebrity, send them a direct message or a comment or whatever else, direct interaction.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of changes, haven't we? Even over the years that we've known each other.
We both knew back then that social media was going to be something that was a lot more involved with business, because it had become a major part of people's social lives.
Yeah.
So we knew. I think both of us understood that it was going to become bigger, and it was going to become more focused for businesses to how they get custom. Whereas before social media, word of mouth was pretty much it. And it still is with social media.
Or millions of pounds into PR and advertising.
Yeah. Whereas with social media, it's still word of mouth, but it bridges connections and gaps.
Yeah.
I've got a friend on my Facebook who is a gentleman from Malawi who I help with advice for insect protein. And I'd never be able to speak to him without social media. We'd never have connected. And now it's like I can send him a message, he receives it 2 seconds later, and he sends me a message back. Before social media, that would have been, even if we'd somehow managed to connect by some miracle, we'd have been sending snail mail to each other, and it would have been weeks between correspondence.
Yeah.
Instead, we can voice chat with each other and video call with each other, and
isn't it? It's crazy. You do it on your phone.
Just from the past 10-15 years of how much it's evolved.
Did you think, when we did the podcast, how podcasts are monetised now and advertising?
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, but at the time I was actually looking into trying to set up a podcast network, because I had an idea for a few different shows, and I met some people that were doing podcasts, and but it was something where I knew that there was going to be a commercial.
Ours went on SoundCloud, didn't it?
Yeah.
I'll put a link in for one of the shows.
When we were doing it, there was no...
But there was no
I don't think,
Spotify or Apple Music or
there was
Apple
any podcasts that had adverts. I don't think even Joe Rogan had adverts. Well, he had his own company. He was promoting his own products. But I don't think he had even external advertisers at that time.
No.
It was still very early on. So for us, it was like we understood that the potential was there, because there were some shows that had millions of listeners. And it's like, if you had that in commercial television, the advertising revenue from the equivalent viewers would be ginormous.
Yeah.
And instead, via podcasts and social media at the time as well, the exposure cost was so much lower because it was incredibly undervalued. So we kind of picked the right spot, really.
Yeah.
Whereas now, if we tried to do the festival, we were aiming for 10,000 people.
Yeah.
We got 20,000 people there.
Yeah.
You did a lot of work with traditional media all over Lincolnshire to promote it, but social media was something that definitely helped, and we couldn't have paid somebody to do that with social media at the time. There wasn't a service, a business, or we couldn't have advertised or paid an agent to do stuff for us. That wasn't a market then. Nobody made any money.
No. So this was really early on. I think Facebook, was really sort of, it was early days for Facebook.
Yeah.
And so if we tried to do that now, we'd have to pay money.
Yes. If we tried to set up a festival thing and get 20,000 people to an event, it would cost a fortune.
Yeah. Whereas back then, it was just literally we were able to generate that ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because posts were actually read and people took...
because it was an undeveloped market, nobody was trying to exploit a revenue share from that exposure.
Yeah.
Nobody had figured that stuff out yet and how to do it. Whereas Facebook and YouTube and stuff, I think it's pretty ingrained into their systems now. Facebook, you can pay £10 and they'll promote a post for you, and you might get a couple of new followers.
Yeah.
The demographic cost is quite high.
Yeah.
But that's because Facebook understand that the social media followers does translate into money.
Yeah.
So,
but I remember, I mean, yeah, you're right. A lot of promoting the festival was traditional media. It was print media that we used.
word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
You went onto some radio shows.
That's right. Yeah, I did a lot of press and
yeah.
sort of do the radio rounds. And
I always used to think, we'll make a post and there might be one or two people like it and comment on it or whatever.
no, yeah,
Whereas it was quite busy. We used to get a lot of interaction on there.
yeah, that wouldn't be the case now.
No, I think it would be a lot harder to try and do.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be harder. You would just need to pay money.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, and signs. I used to go out middle of the night putting signs out, and which I really enjoyed. It was like, go out middle of the night, and then people would wake up the next morning, and the town would just have posters everywhere and banners and all of that.
You've always been a bit mischievous. You have got like a bit of a mischievous energy that isn't like bad enough where you're going to cause any harm to anybody, stuff like that. But if you can be a bit cheeky, I think you do like not quite pushing boundaries, because that makes it sound like you're doing something wrong. But it's never something that severe. You know what I mean? A bit, but a bit of mischief, a bit of cheekiness. I think you're well on board.
Yeah, it does appeal to me. I think you've got we had. Do you remember that crazy idea of we were going to? Oh, I don't know if I should say this, but do you remember that idea about Lloyd's Bank in Lincoln?
What? Oh, yes, I do. Yes.
Can you remember?
Yeah, I remember the logo.
So
The symbol that we were going to use was going to be a pound coin on its axis, and then we were going to have a heart.
Oh, are you talking about the Help Yourself campaign?
I can't remember what the name was. I just remember the logo was like a sideways pound coin that we'd then turned into a love heart. So it was like the pound coin was...
Honestly, we've come up with some real crazy ideas. But do you remember the penny challenge?
Yes. Oh, God. Yeah. I that was something I wish we did.
Yeah.
I really wish we did. We had a good little group of us for that. And I think we could have definitely had some misadventure there with that sort of stuff.
So we came up with this concept of you start off with a penny, and actually I've seen posts on...
this was a urban legend of somebody who kept saying that they would, in America, they had used Craigslist and they traded from a penny to become a millionaire.
Yeah.
And we were trying to see if it was something we could replicate and if it was true or not. So, and it turned out there had been multiple people that had traded from very small items into substantial items.
That's right.
Holding sports cars as assets, houses as assets.
I think the kind of penny challenge originated from a paperclip idea.
Yes, it did.
It was a paperclip.
Yes.
That somebody, I think in the US, traded for something else, and then they traded that item.
Yeah.
And then they ended up. I think the story, if I remember, they ended up with a lease on a property that was worth thousands.
Wow.
I think this is a documented thing, all from this paperclip.
Yeah.
So it was just to trade up every time, and I thought, well, can you monetize? Can you do that with money? So basically, you start off with a penny.
Do you remember what we did to get from the first penny?
No.
You come up with a trick, like a proposition bet, where you would do a trick with people for the penny.
That you would win. That was guaranteed.
Yeah, it was like no. I think there was a risk to it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it would be something where you could slowly get a few more pennies up. That was the hardest bit, starting with 1 penny. How do you get that to 2? And then once you've got a few pounds, you can start doing stuff. We ended up doing was with under £5. We were talking about going and setting up to wash windows.
That's right.
The squidgy, all of that sort of stuff, and we were going to start doing that.
That's right, I remember that. There was a point further down the line when you're on, I don't know, £1,000 or I don't know, that then what you do, there was a point where it was really tricky to then upscale to £2,000.
Yeah, it's too much money to start making small bits, but not enough money to snowball with.
And I think the answer is then to fragment it So you're having to, you can't just go scale up from 1,000 to 2,000.
No.
That you'd have to go to like 200, 1,250,
Yeah.
or break it up into smaller sections to then, but that then sort of defeats the premise of the idea.
Yeah.
Um,
And there's
so
also a lot of risk in it. You only need, with the way that we were doing things, would be if anything went wrong.
that's it. Yeah,
were done.
you wiped you.
We were wiped out.
And did we have a meeting over in Bourne? I think I remember us getting together. I don't know if it was part of when we were over there doing Grimsthorpe, but we were talking about turning it into a game show.
Yeah.
Like that we could then license as a TV show.
That was in Bourne, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I remember. I can't.
At the
remember.
Angel Hotel or something.
That was it. Yeah.
Carol at the time, who ran the Angel Cafe, the cafe in the Angel Hotel, I went in there a few months ago, and she's still there.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was so lovely to see her. She's such a nice lady.
Do you still speak to? Do you catch up with like Freddie and Keith and stuff like that regularly?
No, Freddie, I was going to message the other day actually, because he put a picture of his dad back in the 60s.
Oh, right.
His old man was at the top of some steps, and Freddie mentioned that it was in London, and I knew it was in Paris. So his dad, this picture was taken in Paris, and I think his dad was carrying a guitar or something, and it's a place in Paris that I'm aware of.
Right.
And I was going to message Fred and say, no, actually your old man's in Paris, which, if he thinks it's London, he's going to be amazed at.
Yeah.
So I didn't. I had to go and do something else and forgot to
You're
message
always
him.
busy. You're always up to something.
Yeah, well, you've got to keep busy.
Yeah, you don't stand still for long.
I just realised time's kind of pushing on, but tell me your experience of. So there's this kind of legendary story about we were doing Grimsthorpe one year, and we got a little bit busy.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
What can you?
The 20,000 people
Yeah.
that tried to attend. We
At
planned
once.
for and expected 10,000 people, and we thought we were being lofty with that. To be fair.
Oh, that was because I think we'd gone from 8,000 the previous year.
And instead.
Actually, we got 8,000 the first year.
Yeah.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Really, we should have. To be fair, you wouldn't have predicted from year 1 to year 2 would have over doubled.
No.
Nobody would have predicted that. Whereas we had blocked up miles of road. There was hours of people stuck in traffic trying to come. There
was 9 miles of traffic jam.
Not only that, everybody pretty much stopped whatever they were doing and started to go onto the cars. Like your partner was doing it. All of your family were doing it.
What, car parking?
Yeah, sort of trying to get cars in and parked. I remember I was doing it for a little while, and there was loads of other people who would just, if they weren't doing anything, can you come help with the cars? And everyone was just kind of getting stuck in and trying to get the cars in.
Yeah. And it was a very hot day that year.
Yeah, and the police were very upset about the amount of congestion and that people couldn't go anywhere.
So what do you... I mean, this was years ago, so it's not going to incriminate us, is it? Do you think?
I don't think... I think the
I think they got
limitations probably far exceeded at this point.
Okay. So so I remember getting a call. I think we've spoken about this on the pod before actually, but I remember getting a call from security or something saying, Dan, the police are here.
Yeah. I found you when we basically crossed paths at the information tent.
Yeah.
And it was when the police were talking to you and you were taking them through there so you could have a conversation with them without being in the middle of people. And you said, the police are unhappy with the current situation, that there's giant queues of people. Obviously, we didn't know from inside the festival that there was 20,000 people trying to come in and miles of cars.
Do you know what you say? 'Cause I had no idea. No. I was getting reports, regular reports on...
We knew that traffic was bad. But I think all of us presumed that the traffic was bad for like that bit of road, and that once you'd got out of that area, you'd probably be fine. Obviously, it turned out that we'd backed up literally miles of road and
through Bourne. Bourne was clogged
Bourne.
up.
Yeah. So the queue went from Grimsthorpe through to Bourne, past Bourne, and obviously the police weren't particularly pleased with that. Although they just said to us, can you open up all the entrances you can, try and get people in? And we tried our hardest to get everyone in. I think we did get everyone in. It just took time.
Took time, yeah.
Yeah.
We so the story from my point of view is I got a call on on the radio saying like the police are here, and then it was our head of security met me. We were walking up the main road up towards the castle to the management tent, and he said to me, Dan, just don't say anything, right? I'll do all the talking. He said, I've got all the figures in my head. I went, yeah, right, because I was thinking like we're in serious trouble, and at that point you just go, the event was bigger than any of us at that point, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
You know, so it was in the hands of the police, and
It was in the hands of God.
of God, yeah, exactly. And so I resigned myself to paying a massive fine, going to prison. You know, the worst case scenario.
In that moment, did you actually fear that you would be, criminally?
Yeah, I was.
I do remember when we spoke about it. It was kind of a mixed emotion thing, because obviously we didn't want the police there telling us off, but at the same time, I remember us both being very excited that there was 20,000 people trying.
Do you know what? And that's the thing. In that moment, I was so proud of everyone.
Yeah.
And we were all really close, weren't we? Everyone was really close. I thought, if I go to prison,
Worth it.
it's worth it.
Oh, bless.
And
luckily, you didn't go to prison.
no, fortunately, I mean, yeah, some things you just go, well, we've achieved something together that's pretty amazing, that'll be with us for the rest of our lives, and we'll tell our kids about it. If they're interested, they probably won't be, but, we'd done something that was really amazing. And
I mean, for a lot of us, the pressure wasn't on us.
no,
But the pressure was definitely on you. Like, you carried a lot of the weight for stuff, a lot of the decisions you would have input on. Like, all the stages, all of the acts that would do, you'd have meetings with whoever was stage managing, and Keith do it, because Keith did everything across the board. Freddie was like that as well, very much across the board. Even down to the wooden props that we made and stuff like that. Like, you had input and were involved in everything. There wasn't anything. At the time, I used to say to you, like, oh, you should delegate more. You should just literally sign off from it, give it to somebody else, and then you don't think about it. And you never did. And I don't know how you managed to keep so many different threads so well organised, because it's very hard to do, especially for something like a festival.
my approach is you'll come up with an idea. I don't want to say I delegated a task, because I don't think we ever really did that. It was just we'd collectively come up with an idea, and then let's say for example, your spoken word stage, the speakeasy stage, which was your idea. I was your partner, but I was there to help you. Whatever you needed, I would try and facilitate that.
Yeah. Although it was like, for a lot of stuff I didn't know what to do, so I would generally ask you for some either reassurance or guidance.
Yeah.
And I think that worked out quite well. But you were very involved in everything. That there's normally you expect the person in charge. They would have somebody like Keith who deals with music, right? You just deal with the music, and but your delegation wouldn't be the same way. I don't think you did. You were very, not a control freak with it, but I think there was like an element where you had to retain control to know what was going on, keep up with everything to some extent.
Yeah.
Is that something, as you've gotten older, do you delegate more now? Or are you still somebody who's involved in every aspect?
It's sort of just funny you say that, because I've never thought I'm the smartest person in the room. I've never thought that. So it's, surround yourself with smart people.
Yeah. But you're an intelligent man.
I just run on enthusiasm.
I think there's many types of intelligence, and trying to label all types of intelligence probably isn't particularly good. Like that, there's something in your brain that is very good about the business and organisational side of things. That there's some kind of an intelligence there. Maybe it's not, reading textbooks and memory recall, or
both of which I am all for it.
There's artistic intelligence. There's emotional intelligence. I think everyone is intelligent, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's
just finding your thing. That is quite interesting. I think the things I am good at are things I am really interested in.
Yeah.
Like I was really interested in the festival, for example.
Yeah.
And so I was sharp because I was interested in that.
Become hyper fixated on it.
Yeah, and that is,
It did take over your whole life, really. It was like your life.
Well, not entirely. I was like, I
mean,
had a fan. Well,
Yeah,
my son. I looked after my son, and
yeah. But even
he
that
was.
stuff, it would be, you would still be doing the festival stuff when you were at home. You'd just be taking care of your son, dealing with son stuff, but you'd never stopped.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you'd be up until the middle of the night still doing festival stuff, and then you'd be up at 5, 6 in the morning doing festival stuff, and that happened every day.
Yeah.
You didn't ever have time off. So.
Well, as I say, it was bigger than all of us, so it's like
Yeah.
something you can't switch off. But it was really.
Definitely like that. I understand the hyperfixation on a thing that you're interested in. That's something that that's how we're similar, I think, with that sort of stuff. So with the hyperfixation for the festival, has that changed as you've gotten older now?
No, I
You
am.
Still have that.
I still have that.
passion and
Yeah, I still have that. I'm a very enthusiastic person about something I'm really passionate about. If I'm not, then it doesn't get my full attention, and it doesn't get my full intellect.
I'm pretty the same actually.
Yeah, I think you are.
Yeah, I've become, if I'm not hyperfixated on something, I don't really care.
Yeah.
So, but I'm able to learn a lot of different things as long as I can spend time reading it, and I love learning new stuff. It's a massive driver for me. And I thought, when I was younger, eventually I'll just stop being interested in learning new stuff. But I'm still the same as I was when I was a very young man, and I still love learning new stuff. I still try and find new stuff to learn, and I think that'll probably be a persistent part of me for the rest of my life. But it's been weird because I didn't think that. I thought that was something that was a kind of childlike part of innocence. You kind of grow out of it when you get older, but now I'm older, I realise that that's not true at all. For some people, it gets beaten out of you by society. A lot of people will end up not pursuing something they want to do because they think, you have to be good at something. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't have to be good at something. I dance and sing constantly at home. I'm terrible at both, but I love doing it.
Yeah.
Why does it matter? As long as what you're doing isn't causing any harm to anybody.
No, exactly.
Find something you love doing. Go and learn as much as you can about it. Do as much as you can about it. If you really love something and you're passionate and you're going to really put your all into it, the money comes. And don't be scared of trying something new. I think that's when you're deciding if you're going to do something or not. There's this kind of fear of the unknown and the fear of failure. You have to fail. If you really want to learn, you have to fail, and you have to. It's difficult as well when it's something you love. If something fails, it becomes very difficult to accept that. You invest your heart, your mind, your energy, time into it. So when it goes wrong, it's personal. It'd be like an artist messing up a picture on the last paintbrush. But you have to learn to live in that uncomfortable feeling. You have to learn how to analyse your failures. You have to learn how to make sure you don't repeat your failures. But the fear of the failure is the biggest barrier to starting. So if there's something I would say for anyone listening would be to, if you have that passion, pursue it. Don't worry about the money, don't worry about failing or anything else. Just go and start doing it. Start learning, start failing.
I remember a story about Picasso, and I think he's considered certainly one of the best artists of the 20th century. And the stuff we see is 5% of what he... I mean, 20%, whatever, it doesn't matter. But he created loads more than we actually see. But they're his failures.
Yeah, well,
failures. No, yeah, I know, it's Picasso, but the point is that they're not hanging in museums. No. They're the ones that he discarded and thought, right, okay, I can do better than this. And so...
how many failed paintings did he...
Exactly, so it's okay to fail. Just keep failing and you'll come up with some successes. And, it's a numbers game, really. Yeah. I think Grimsthorpe could have gone spectacularly wrong.
Oh, if it went wrong, it could have definitely gone very badly wrong.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I don't know how this is something that you managed to do. I think outside of everybody else would be to ensure it didn't fail. And I don't know how you managed that, to be honest.
Well, I think it was really good planning. I had a brilliant mentor.
So you were my mentor when I was young. And I looked up a lot to you for business stuff, but you had a mentor.
Yeah, Simon.
I remember Simon, as does health and safety, sticking around. Oh, you basically bunged in cars full of us, and we took 10, 15 of us down there, and we all did health and safety forms. Do you remember?
No, I don't remember.
The entire site.
Did we?
It flooded, and then it just started to dry out, and we decided we'd go do it. And we basically all had clip forms and a pile of HS boards.
Oh, really?
And we were all thinking of anything we could for the health and safety to make sure that we tried to cover everything we possibly could.
So Simon took care of that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he was mentoring me. Yeah. And I was very lucky to, and I think so I looked up to him. He was like head of Lincolnshire Fire and Rescue. Yeah. I think, an amazing man, an extremely nice, calm person, I'm very thankful to have met him. And
I feel kind of similarly about you. It's doing the festival was changed the trajectory of my life to some extent. At the time, I felt very lost in the world, and I wasn't really sure where I fit.
Really?
Yeah, because I've always been weird and a bit of an outsider to stuff, and I'm okay with that. But it's difficult to see where you fit into the grand scheme of things when you're a weird person. And
I wouldn't describe you as weird, but I know what you mean, and I think it's those outsiders that probably suffer more than most, but have a bigger impact than most.
Yeah, to some extent, you're probably right. But you were somebody else who was kind of weird as well.
Yeah.
In a nice way. But
yeah, I feel a little bit outsider.
Yeah. So when I was younger, I was doing the free hugs and stuff, and I thought, who is there that I can look to what do I do with this? Where do I go? I used to have ideas constantly, and I never really had an outlet for them. The festival was one of those. Now it's all science stuff. I do stuff with material sciences and microbiology mostly. But at the time, I didn't have that. So I didn't know anybody who was like we are. That just go, right, I'm going to do this because I love doing it. So for me, it was like you kind of showed me that there is a path. You can do this sort of stuff. You don't have to just stick to a normal, boring office job. You don't have to work for somebody else. If you can go through the uncomfortable times and manage, then you're laughing during the good times when things are lined up.
Yeah.
So, but
that's not always money, is it?
No,
it's
definitely.
friendship and
outside of it.
Yeah,
it's more outside of the money.
Or experience,
Yeah, generally the money is kind of thing comes once everything else. If you love what you're doing, you learn, you fail, you hone in on things, and you keep pushing, and eventually it works.
Yeah.
But you have to fail a lot before you get to that point, and you have to, like I said, you've got to be able to be okay with failure.
Yeah, you've got to be comfortable with it, haven't you? Yeah. Otherwise you just go mad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Leon, I could speak to you all day, mate.
Yeah, I'm talking to you, mate.
We'll do this again.
Yeah.
Because
I should be getting the autoclave for me to start doing a lot more microbiology work this month or next month. So in the next 6 months or so, hopefully there'll be some updates where I can say that we're making some good progress.
Yeah, we'll do that. Brilliant. Thanks for spending time with us and chatting.
Always a pleasure.
Love you, Leon.
Love you too, Dan. It's been too long since I've seen you properly. It's
you're one of those people that I cannot see for years, but it just seems like
it feels almost, especially when we're in the think tank here
it's
at the
mad,
uni,
isn't
it feels almost like back at the festival days, doesn't it? Just need to find an office to take over for a few hours.
Let's do it. Yeah. Well, brilliant. Thanks, Leon. And, we'll do this again soon.
Speak to you soon.
Cheers. Today's episode of Strong Links was brought to you by Dan-son Property Services, where quality work meets local care. From reliable maintenance jobs to property refurbs, call Dan-son Property Services today. See you next time.